Yeah. So that's, and my voice is about to give out, so that's it.
I understand you to say she was imprisoned in Silesia?
No, not in Silesia, no, in Riga.
Oh, but she was in prison?
Yes, and she went up there with Zinzendorf.
What was the reason for that?
The ban on her preaching, a ban on the presence of the Moravian fact. So, same here. I mean, on the way in New York, right? Right. So, I mean, it's not as though she was. It wasn't a delict or something like that. But that's why.
Thanks so much for this talk. I look forward to May. My question is whether you've had a chance to study the existing hymns attributed to her, and if so, if you have any sort of preliminary thoughts about...
No, I haven't yet. That's as I said, I'm at the beginning. What I have, I remember looking at obviously the way in which she... what's interesting, what is interesting to me is what creates hymns for her. What is the inspirational moment that she uses to then translate into hymn form? And in the manuscripts that I've read of hers, the letters, she breaks into verse very quickly. I am not an expert on Moravian hymnody. I will rely on those who are to tell me how many of those hymns are hymns that everyone sings, that everyone knows, how many of them are new compositions of hers. And that's obviously something which I would need to look into. But I find that very interesting. As I said in my talk, the genre of the hymn I find very interesting as both the individual and the communal expression of faith.
This is so interesting, and could you say more about the burning of her papers, or could Paul perhaps? How do we know what got burned? And
well, he's the expert there.
Right. Could you?
Well, they made lists of the categories they were going to destroy. This was Anna Nitschmann's correspondence, her diaries, and letters that she received in her capacity as the head of all Moravian women.
And also Zinzendorf's, what were they called? The green books?
The green books.
Which were like his personal notes. They were destroyed as well.
And who would have signed off on the burning, the destruction?
The leadership of the church.
And what year would that have
It
been?
was 1761.
Yeah, immediately after
It was
Zinzendorf's
immediately
death.
afterwards.
Yeah.
It's as though they were just waiting.
Right.
Was that as unusual as it sounds?
Purge history?
Yes. I'm thinking that shortly after Mother Teresa's death, we were getting immediate reports of the contents of her own journals and her own reflection on the issue of faith and her own belief in God. And I wonder if it's a similar...
I don't think the intention was that. I mean, if you're thinking about, if you have someone you want to beatify, it might be embarrassing to actually find out that they were just human, right? And so you want to get rid of their personal opinions. I don't think that was the motivation behind destroying Anna and Zinzendorf's papers. I think it was very much to try to avoid scandal. That the Moravian Church had already been through so much that finding out exactly the nature of their relationship prior to them having been married, and perhaps even after they've been married. There are some scholars who have pointed to Anna's incredible unhappiness at being Zinzendorf's wife. So that I don't know.
I think it's part of a larger plan to rewrite the history of the church. After Zinzendorf's death, Moravians distanced themselves from their radical identities. And what is more radical than a woman that preaches, a woman that has a leadership over large groups of people within the church? And they wanted to erase the memory to Anna Nitschmann and Johanna Pisch and other women and other people in the church having these leadership positions.
And there was also, the question of, was Anna a priest? Like, had she been ordained? And that's a big debate talked about again and again of Anna having secretly been ordained. 12 years, so 1746, I guess it would be then, right? Because then in 1758, the other women are also ordained as well, and she's one of the ones who ordains the women. And so that, obviously, after Zinzendorf's death, would be problematic. People saw exactly what was going on there as well. So it's a question of rewriting history. It's a question of, I think, also rewriting the image of this woman. If we take away the real woman, then we can project all kinds of ideals onto her, which is how I started out my lecture. This idea she's our heroine, she's a former, which is all true, but we take away the actual substance of what made her, right? And it makes it easier to accept a woman who did that. So, I think this is very, this may be the project I never complete, Paul. You have to keep kicking me and say, Katie, come on, and keep giving me speaking engagements, right, to come back. And so I have to keep coming back. But I think that one of the other sources that might be useful, given that all of these papers were destroyed, is the vast amount of memoirs that are written and have not been published, and that talk about Anna Nitschmann. And so just from the collection of women's memoirs that I've looked at, you can piece together and some of what Anna was doing. And I'm part of this much larger project, the digitization of all of Moravian memoirs, right? And that will mean that we have a huge database to look at, to say what was Anna Nitschmann's role, what was she doing, how were people talking about her, etc., etc. There's also so many records that have not been catalogued. And the description I showed you in full neck of the celebration day, that was done for me by the minister in full neck. It hasn't been catalogued, it hasn't been translated, she did it for me, which was incredibly nice of her. So there are repositories of papers that hopefully weren't attacked in 1761.
Scott? Is it likely that Anna Nitschmann would have had correspondence outside the church, like among the Quakers or other German groups? And is that a place to maybe look for?
Yes, I think that would be an interesting look, definitely among with the Quakers and Skippack Brethren as well. And she writes very good English. She's very modest about her English when she goes to London, but she's writing, her letters are in English among the Moravians. And when she goes to London, she's speaking English and writing in English. That would be a really good place to look.
Any other questions? Thank you again. On May 9th, because then we'll hear the second part of this intriguing story. Before that, we have several other lectures. Our next lecture is on April 4th. It's Happy Anniversary Bethlehem. I will be speaking on how did Bethlehem celebrate its anniversary throughout the years. And then we have a lecture at the end of April about the inventor of the washing machine, who happened to be a Moravian pastor in York. And that's also going to be an interesting story. We also offer a workshop on Moravian paste paper, and there are lists at the front desk with all our upcoming events, so you can see what we have. You can see it on the website. I hope you can stay around for a little bit. We have refreshments in the gallery. You can see our anniversary exhibit, Building Bethlehem, in the gallery. You can stay to talk to our speaker. There are also boxes everywhere where you can put some money in so that we can continue doing these lectures and having refreshments. Thank you so much for coming.